First fellow we're going to look at is the brain. When we're looking at the brain, we want to try to figure out all the various components of the brain and make this make sense so we understand it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in. And since that's going to be the area that I'm going to be in, I'm going to start here. Now when I see this structure, I notice something. Mr. Yellow, what are you picking this brain up by? Well, you found out that the brain had protective coverings. So, Mr. Gilmore, what are you holding this by? Well, I'm picking that brain up by the dura mater, because it's the tough one. It's the one that's up close and personal. But Mr. Gilmore, if that's the dura mater, watch this very closely. You see this that I'm pulling this by? Nope, it's too shiny. You can see that I'm pulling this brain by something. That's the pia mater. You see that? That's the one that's up close and personal. So, Mr. Gilmore, but what is the spider web one that's on the top of that? That's going to be arachnoid. So if I wanted to be real technical, which I'm not, but I needed to point this out to you, and I put something in there, I said, okay, well, what meninge am I touching now? This is pia mater. Because remember, pia mater is the one that's up close personal to the actual brain and spinal cord. So that gives me that. So I got the meninges, Mr. Gilmore, but here's what I need to look at now. There's 12 cranial nerves, but there's only 2 that you have to know. One of them, Mr. Gilmore, is here. This is the olfactory bulb, cranial nerve 1, and coming from it is the actual nerve. So I can't see the nerves that go through the cribriform plate of the ethmoid, but I can see this. So if I pin this, you know that's the olfactory bulb, and what comes from it, if I say nerve, because the card is going to tell you what I'm looking for, then you know that's cranial nerve 1, which is olfactory. If I look here, Mr. Gilmore, I notice if you tag this, if you stick a pin in this, I know that's the optic nerve. But if you put a pin right here, I know that is the optic chiasm, which means that's where they cross. Now, here's what else happens, Mr. Gilmore. What if you use a brain like this that exposes this? Mr. Gilmore, if you put a pin right here, that's the optic tract. So I go optic tract, optic chiasm, optic nerve. Everybody with it? Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Gilmore, I need you to just go and show me all the actual landmarks that I can see underneath. Where you told me this hole, Mr. Gilmore, was the infundibulum. But what is this structure right here? This structure is the mammillary body. Now, if this is the mammillary body, it is not to be confused with this. This structure, Mr. Gilmore, is hiding the mammillary body. Well, that's actually the pituitary gland. So I notice the pituitary gland is still in place here. And if it's in place, normally, Mr. Gilmore, you're going to have the what? The dura mater still left on the brain. Hint, hint. Now, if that much is true, what if you were to ask me, Mr. Gilmore, the different lobes? If I have a card on there and I have the front of this tag, so that's frontal lobe. What if I have this area tagged? That's going to be parietal lobe, bless you. What if I had the side of it tagged? That's going to be temporal lobe. Well, what if I had the posterior aspect tagged? That's going to be occipital lobe. So I know the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. But Mr. Gilmore, what if you had a pin here and you asked me, what fissure is this? Well, Mr. Gilmore, what separates the left and right hemispheres is going to be the longitudinal fissure. That makes sense. But what if you were to ask me, if you had this pin like this, what fissure is that? And that's got to be the transverse, because the transverse fissure separates the cerebrum from the cerebellum. But Mr. Gilmore, here's what I've been wanting to ask you. Here's what I've been wanting to ask you. I got to get me a good picture of this. What if you do this on test day and you ask me what is this top structure here you pin it? Well, Mr. Gilmore, this is superior colliculus, and if this is superior colliculus, it's for vision. But what if you tag this one or this one? Well, those are inferior colliculus, and therefore hearing. But Mr. Gilmore, what if you tag this and say, what do these four structures make up? Well, Mr. Gilmore, that's the corpora quadriennium. The card is going to tell you what to actually answer that as. Now, Mr. Gilmore, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to open that up a little bit more. I ain't gonna do it over here though. It's of confusion. All right, so Mr. Gilmore, show me this. If you show me this, I should be able to answer all your questions from a side view. And I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do something else. So here's what I got. I'll point, you tell. What does this dark line represent?
Sulcus.
Sulcus, good. What does this area right here represent?
Gyrus.
Gyrus, good. Mr. Gilmore, this top edge is called the corpus callosum. If this is the corpus callosum, this bottom one represents the fornix. So Mr. Gilmore, what's this pitted area to the side? Lateral ventricle. So I got corpus callosum, I got fornix, and I got lateral ventricle. If that much is true, this area that you're circling, Mr. Gilmore, that's right under the fornix is called the
Thalamus.
thalamus. If this is the thalamus, that makes this the
Hypothalamus.
hypothalamus. If that's a hypothalamus, what's this area right here? Pituitary gland. So I got thalamus, hypothalamus, pituitary. Good. Mr. Gilmore, what area are you circling now? Midbrain. If this is the midbrain, what area are you circling now?
Pons.
Pons. If that's the pons, what area are you circling now? Medulla oblongata. After the medulla oblongata, what area are you circling now?
Spinal cord.
Spinal cord. So in order, I got midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, and spinal cord. Good. Because Mr. Gilmore, here's what I got. I noticed something. I got those same little bumps that you were just talking about right here. Everybody see that? So those are the same bumps. What's the big bump at the top gonna be? Superior colliculus. What's the one at the bottom gonna be? Inferior colliculus. So I gotta be able to recognize this from the side and from the back? Yes. In addition to that, Mr. Gilmore, I noticed this structure right here. What's his name? That's the cerebellum. If that's the cerebellum, what's this tree-like structure inside of it? The arbor vitae. What does the arbor vitae mean? Tree of life. Tree of life. Mr. Gilmore, it gives me a good understanding of the sagittal view. Mr. Gilmore, what are you holding this brain up by? What's that thing right there? Pineal body or pineal gland. And the hormone that acts on him is melatonin, Mr. Gilmore. I gotta know that, I get it. What's this pitted area to the side? Lateral ventricle. If this is the lateral ventricle, what are you putting this pin in? Thalamus. If this is thalamus, how can I always know where the thalamus is? I'm going to find this cuticle structure right here, called the fornix, and he's always below it. Mr. Gilmore, what are you pointing to right now? Superior colliculus. That makes this the inferior colliculus. If I was you, I remember what the superior colliculus is for, hint, hint, and this inferior colliculus is for. Now, if that much is true, that gets me through. That gets me through majority of what I see for the brain. Now I need your help, Mr. Gilmore. This is where it gets fun. We don't have a whole lot of dissections on this test, but it ain't like I only can ask you 50 questions. So here's what we're gonna do. All right, so let's play. This opening here is called who? That's my pupil. This smooth black layer is called who? Iris. This lined area is called what? Ciliary body or ciliary muscle. So this opening is my pupil. The smooth black layer is iris, and this lined area, ciliary body or ciliary muscle. Can't get that wrong. What's that marble-like structure?
Lens.
That's who?
Lens.
Lens. If that's my lens, what is white gelatinous material that looks like egg white? That's gonna be the virtuous humor. Virtuous humor. You can't leave that alone. Why? Because it might show up on the test. If that much is true, Mr. Gilmore, I need your help. What you need my help with? I need to know the front structures. Mr. Gilmore, hook me up. This black layer, sometimes it's gonna be kind of tannish brown, but this black layer on this one is my what? Bulbar conjunctiva. Good job. If that's my bulbar conjunctiva, what area is this that I'm touching right now? The cornea. We got to be careful with the cornea because the cornea can get these opacities to it, and we end up with what?
Cataracts.
A cataract. There we go. And Mr. Gilman, that's the front. I need you to hook me up, though. I need you to show me the back. Mr. Gilmore, what is all this stuff on the back part of the eye that looks yellow? Post-orbital adipose. The term tells you where it's found. Post-orbital adipose. Mr. Gilmore, but hold up. That's this funny looking thing right here. What's his name? Optic nerve, aka cranial nerve 2. All right, Mr. Gilmore. We getting there, we getting there. And it's probably decent. All right, let's play. Mr. Gilmore, here's what I need you to do. What is this brown green stuff? No. What is this brown tannish stuff that uses light to help me see? What is that called? Retina. If that's the retina, what is this blue-green area called? Tapetum lucidum. If this is tapetum lucidum, what is this black layer called? Choroid. Now, if that's the choroid, what about this white layer right here? That's the sclera. So in order, I'm going to have the retina, tapetum lucidum, choroid, and then sclera. Is that correct? If that much is correct, what is this area called where it's like the retina diverges to, and Mr. Gilmore, I really can't see in that area?
Optic disc.
That's called the optic disc, aka
Blind spot.
blind spot. If that much is true, Mr. Gilmore, you know and I know that this is the lens, but behind the lens is going to be this big old space area, Mr. Gilmore. I need you to help me understand what's on this lens that's going to hold it in place. It's pressurizing it and keeping it in place. What is that called? Virtuous humor, or that what? Egg white stuff. But here's what else I need to give you, Mr. Gilmore. Because I'm kind of understanding this. But you hold it out on me. And I need you to go over one more thing. Because you just might see this. What I might see. You gotta bear with me. I got something for you. And I'm gonna suggest that all y'all take pictures of it today. What you want us to take pictures of? gotta ride with me. Like the old folks say, I ain't gonna lead you wrong. Watch this. And I'm gonna give y'all this to take pictures of. You see where the cornea is? There's a space right behind the cornea. Guess what that space is called? Anterior chamber. Mr. Gilmore, but I noticed when the lens is sitting in this place, there's a smaller space right in front of it. What is that smaller space called? Posterior chamber. Well, Mr. Gilmore, you gave me a formula in class, and what's that formula? The anterior chamber plus the posterior chamber equals anterior cavity. But Mr. Gilmore, what about if I put the lens in place, what's the area all the way behind it? What is this area called? This is called posterior cavity. Mr. Gilmore, I need to know that. Everybody with me? That helps me understand the difference between chambers and cavities. Now guess what, Mr. Gilmore? All this other stuff is going to become apparent by you giving me this to take pictures of. I don't know where you got this from. But what you're going to do is, you're going to take a picture of this one, and of this one, and you're going to get all this just like that.
Yeah, I know that. Will you take pictures of me so I can see it since you're right there?
Y'all with me? Now, I see him